Shri Krishna, Shri Krishna, Shri Krishna, Shri Krishna. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Hari Om Tat Sat. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, 16th chapter, Daivasura Sampat Vibhaga Yogam, Shloka number 1. Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Abhayam Sattva Samshuddhir Gnana Yoga Vyavastitihi Dhanam Damascha Yajnascha Swadhyayastapa Arjavam. In this chapter, Bhagavan Shri Krishna started enumerating the divine qualities, and later on he is going to explain about the demonic qualities also, Daiva and Asura. The need or necessity of this Daiva Sampatti is to grow spiritually. Unless otherwise we are endowed with these divine qualities, unless otherwise if our mind is free from all these negative qualities, then only it is possible to realize the truth. So inner climate or the mental makeup is very important for the understanding the truth. So for that reason Bhagavan Shri Krishna emphasized, we saw in this shloka 3 gunas. One is Gnana Yoga Vyavastitihi. I took it in the serial, the first one. The person who goes to the teacher and surrender to the teacher, and that teacher is teaching the Shastra. Shastra will command us and then it will instruct us. Shasanat trayate iti shastraha. Therefore, Gnanam can acquired only through a Shastra Shravanam, through a Shrotriya Brahmanishta Guru. And after that, application of that knowledge with a perfect discipline is called yoga. So who is committed to these two? One is listening first and learning, and then implementing that knowledge with a utmost care and the concern. Then because of that, Sattva Samsuddhi will take place. Our heart, the mind becomes purer, intellect becomes very, very alert and clear. In that Sattva Samsuddhi mind, only the Abhaya Prapti, the fearlessness can come. Of course, fearlessness, Shastra teaches us that you are the fearless Brahman. Therefore, unless otherwise we recognize that I am the Brahman, the fear never goes. And about the fear, we talked about the positive fear and the negative fear. Now let us go to the next point, which is called Dhanam. Dhanam, from here onwards, Bhagavan telling about the Madhyama Adhikaris. The first 3 qualities are meant for the Uttam Adhikari. And after that, he need not to worry about any other things. But to come to that stage for the middle or the Adhamadhikaris or the middle Madhyamadhikaris, that means mostly the family members or the grihasthas who are still attached to the worldly life for them, but these practices will help them also to come to that first level. Therefore, dhanam. Dana means charity. Learn to share whatever you have. Dhanam is very much emphasized in our Shastra, particularly for a grihastha. If you are not learned to give, then you cannot give up the ego and the body identification later. Therefore, it is a practice that learn to give. You should give for your benefit, not for the benefit of others. Others, anyhow, they will get benefit. So, this dhanam's charity, share, it is told as the must for the grihastha. And for that, lot of prescriptions are given. If you do dhanam in that particular place, in this particular time, in this particular place, all the things are emphasized, because due to that, the people will learn to give. More you give, more you will get. But here again, you should not have the ego feeling that I am giving, I have given, because if you are not aware of it, naturally the feeling of again abhimana, you feel great that I am giving. But Shastra teacher says that give without any arrogance, give with humility, give with respect. Never boast that about your charity or this. Don't give only for the sake of the tax exemption. Therefore, Taittiriya Upanishad very clearly says about the dhanam, Shraddhaya deyam, Ashraddhaya adeyam, Hriya deyam, Bhiya deyam, Samvida deyam. So many. Give with humility, give plenty, and give with the fear. Fear means what? Why I should feel afraid of giving? Because I want to give, but the other person should accept, no? If that person says, I don't want, I won't take, then if everybody says like that, to whom I will give? But giving is a need of me, it is my need, because that process of giving charity will purify mind. The selfishness, the possessive nature will comes down. So these are all very, very important. Without the inner purity of the mind and clarity and discipline of the mind and intellect, the walking in the spiritual path and attaining the goal is not possible. Therefore, dhanam. And when you are giving also, you just give secretly, never advertise. But if you see many people who donate, they want their name and fame, nameplate. Even they give small thing, but they want to write so many things on it. and they want the receipt for thing. So all these are all, again, we are cheating ourselves in the name of the dhanam, charity also. Therefore, of course, give it to a suitable person in a suitable time, in suitable place. These are all things prescribed in the Shastra. But dhanam, while giving, actually it keeps us only in the relative plane. That's why I told this is only for the Madhyamadhikaris. If I am giving something to somebody, naturally we are giving importance to the worldly things. So still in our mind there is a value for the worldly things and the transactions. Of course, that is needed in the beginning. Unless otherwise you do that, you cannot grow spiritually or come to the right path. So charity, dhanam is told. And then next, damaha, the sense control. Damaha we have discussed many times because it is told in the Patanjali Yoga Sutras time also, and while you are talking about the sadhana chatushtaya sampatti also, damaha, bahya indriya nigraham, bahya akaranam upashamaha. So our senses, they should not just run as they like, as they feel. We must have control in indulging or engaging in any sensual object, very essential. Therefore, damaha. When we talk about the damaha, generally the next comes as the shamaha also, but that is not mentioned here. It comes in some other place. That's why in sadhana chatushtaya sampatti also, the order starts from the shama, dama, titiksha, shraddha, samadhanam, all these things. So shama, dama. Shama means inner instrument control, the mind control. Damaha means the external senses of organs of the sense organs control. In this way, bahya karananam upashamaha damaha. If you are not watchful, unknowingly we will caught up in something or other. Even the so-called spiritual people are walking in the spiritual path. People have got something or other addiction. It may not look like a very big thing, but they cannot live without that. It is not necessary actually, it becomes a now need. Necessaries we convert into as the need, and luxuries also will turn like that. Small things, either food habits and the things which we accumulate and keep around. So we must be very careful and attentive, avoiding this indulgence in the sensual pleasures or the accumulation of the sensual objects. Therefore, damaha. Then the next point is told as the yajnaha. Yajnaha also is a kind of discipline, and as well as the dhanam is there. In yajna also we do some sacrifice, but that we don't call it as the dhanam, we will call it as a sacrifice. Offering, that is also. So to do that also, whatever is told for a particular yajna, yaga, ritual, you need to do that. There also you do, you give a dakshana to the brahmanas. and you have to spend to buy many things to offer in the Agni Kunda. So this Yajna and Yaga. Yajnas are done, there are Shrauta karmas and Smarta karmas. The Yajna yagas which are prescribed by the Shruti, Daiva Yajnam comes in that, and Pitru Yajnam comes in the Smarta karma. So in this way, Deva Yajnadi, Agnihotradi, etc., all these things. Because through the practice of Yajna, this Agnihotram, Sandhya Vandanam, Upasanam, all these kind of Nitya Naimitya karmas, the rituals will make a person to become more disciplined, one thing, and to become more dharmic, and to become more divine, God oriented. So ultimately, for a lengthy period of time performing all these kind of things, whether it is a small ritual or a big ritual, Agnihotra is prescribed for a grihastha in the olden days as a compulsory ritual. Because through Agni only all our day-to-day actions are performed, and Agni is the fire which is used for cooking. Therefore, olden days the fire always in the kitchen somewhere, the fire will be remained, because any guest comes, they never say immediately they can cook, because those days current and gas, these facilities are not there, but still people will maintain that Agnihotra. Of course, many other reasons are also there, that Agni should be maintained until the end of his life, and that Agni only used by the son to do the Antyakriyas to his father. So that much is the preference given to. But even though all those things are not followed nowadays, but still here Yajna means sacrifice. So for simple Yajnam, in the 4th chapter, Bhagavan explained few Yajnas. There only it comes the Brahmarpanam, Brahmavihi. All are Yajnams only. Eating is a process of Yajna. Taking a bath is a process of Yajna. Any of the your sensual engagements are all can be converted as the breathing pranayama as Yajna. So bhavana should be cultivated. Everything is offering to the Lord. Where from I am getting all this? With all that, again I remember that divine power, the Paramatma, and offering back to him. So in this kind, again here also indirectly, if you observe the nature of giving and sacrificing, that's why it is called sacrifice. Of course, Bhagavan later on going to tell sacrifice in a separate word as the Tyaga. That time we will see what the meaning is. Then after Yajna, then Swadhyaya. Swadhyaya, general meaning is, it comes in the niyamas of the Patanjali also. Shaucha, Santosha, Tapas, Swadhyaya and Ishvara Pranidhana. Swadhyaya means the just literary meaning, self-study. Many places the study circles or study groups are also Swadhyaya groups. So it has got so many meanings, in so many angles we can take that Swadhyaya, self-study. Again here we can say self-study means self-discipline, self-analysis, self-evaluation. I must check that whether I am going in a right path or not, according to my teacher's teaching or the Shastra teaching. So like that, uh, living in with alertness is called Swadhyaya. Of course, Swadhyaya, Atma, analysis of the inquiry of the Atma, Swa, like that, Swadhyaya, even doing the Parayanam of the Vedas, either Rig Veda or Yajur Veda, etc., those Swadhyaya, according to their family Veda, people will keep on chant that. Doing that for the sake of, Shankaracharya writes here, for the sake of adrushtardham, to get the punya. Even in the yajna also, people will do lot of yajnas and all that in the beginning only for the sake of to attain the higher worlds. With the desire only they perform the rituals to get this, to get that. That is in the beginning it's okay. Shastra itself says that if you are performing these things, you will get this kind of punya and phala. Either going to Swarga or Pitruloka, etc., etc. But after some time, the person will realize or should realize these all things, how much purity has brought in me, and slowly, side by side, the dispassion also should come. Hereafter, I am not going to desire anything, but if I am performing means not for not with any kama desire, but just for my spiritual upliftment. If that comes, now that person is eligible to come to the Gnana Yoga. Gnana Yoga. But until that, it's good, he is doing, he is a dharmic person, religious person, following this tradition, yajna, dana, yaga, all that. But we should not stick on to only that. In the previous life also, in the other lives also, we have done maybe so many things. Now again, I want much more a better place to enjoy. What do you want to enjoy? Any place, anywhere, any enjoyment is only a ashashvatam, temporary. Why can't you seek at least now after some time the shashvata vastu? Therefore, here this Swadhyaya also gives some punyam. But later that should become a really study of the Prasthanatraya scriptures, the Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, Brahma Sutra. Like this, Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. If you have done for many years the Parayanam, chanting and all that, your puja, all these things should lead you to the real desire, should bring a mumukshutvam in you. Mumukshutvam is also we call as a desire for moksha. Therefore, Swadhyaya means we can take in from so many angles. Self-study, self-analysis, self-evaluation. In this way, looking within me, what are the drawbacks in me? What are the corrections I should do? I should be very, very positive in that. I should not hesitate to remove the unwanted things from my mind. Therefore, Swadhyayam. And then, Tapaha. tapaha word, again, self-denial or self-imposed discipline. That's why in one way, doing dhanam also comes under tapas only. Unless you have something to lose, you are losing your money, you are losing your possessions or articles. In the name of dana, you will give it away. For that, you need a self-denial, that is, I don't require, I can give it. That is also comes under tapas. So, in fact, all the practices of spiritual sadhanas all comes under tapas. But still, the tapaha word is given separately. Later on in the 17th chapter, Bhagavan is going to talk about the Sharirika tapas, Manasika tapas, Vachika tapas, all that separately. Therefore, tapaha, tap word is the root. Tap means which burns, heat, which heats up. So, tapanam means to raise, patanam is to fall. If you read this word tapa in a reverse way, pata. In Sanskrit, pata means falling down. So, tapanam is raising and growing, and patanam is falling down. So, tapa is the basic instruction given to the human beings. If you see from the beginning of the creation, in Bhagavata Mahapurana, we saw this. Brahmaji, Chaturmukha Brahma, appeared first in the ocean, a lotus, and in the middle of the lotus. So he doesn't, when he opened the eyes and as soon as he born, he sees only the water all around, nothing else. Then he himself questioned that, who am I? Who am I? Where I am? Who am I? First, I am. Who am I? Kaha. Therefore, there is one name to Brahmaji, Kaha. And then, when he started thinking in that way, he tried to find out by going inside the stem of the lotus flower, but he could not find anything. And again he come back and he sits on it. And then later, after some time, when he keep on thinking, and thinking means meditating, who am I, how can I understand, where from I have come. Then he heard the word, the first word is tapa, tapa, tapa. He heard 3 times. So 3 times when he turned this side once and turned this side once and turned one side, look at the back. Therefore he got another 3 more extra heads. Of course, the 4 heads represent the 4 Vedas. But the point is tapa. Then he sat and started contemplating more than 100 celestial years. So tapa means alochane, actually, not torturing the body and by by putting a self-discipline on you and like that. That is all okay. Some extent helps to a person to know his inner strength and the stamina. But altogether, in the name of the God we do tapas, in the name of vrata, upavasa and all that also. God doesn't require any of these things. Any sadhana, going to the temple, doing any kind of those rituals, all are meant for only for my inner purification and spiritual growth. Remember this. This is a fundamental thing we have to understand. Therefore, tapa in this context, in real context, if you take, somebody did so many years tapas and somebody did tapas in this way. He stood on one leg, he stood on the head. So different things are stories we see in the Puranas, how Asuras are also done the tapas, Rishis are also. But all these together should melt and come and halt there. Tapa means alochane, enquiry, vicharana. Therefore, Brahmaji, after that, he got the vision of the Lord Narayana and he got the instructions from him. And Chatushloki Bhagavata is taught, and Bhagavan assured that you indulge and do in my work. I am commanding and giving a responsibility to start the creator. Therefore, Brahma Devanam Pradamas Sambhabhuva Vishwasya Karta Bhuvanasya Gopta. Like that, he become the Srishtikarta. So, being you remember me and do your karma without any kartrutva bhavana, bhoktrutva bhavana, then you never get caught up. That assurance also given by Bhagavan Sriman Narayana. This is a story we come across in the Bhagavata Mahapurana. So, tapas is the basic ingredient which under that comes all the sense control, mind control, speech control, everything, food control. So you need not to specially do someday something specially, people will do. But after that what? What you gain through it? You mostly, generally people nowadays do the tapas, some kind of self-imposed disciplines, all in the name of the God and to seek some favor from the God. Yes, many, majority who are all having a faith and devotion, all those bhaktas will do in the name of the God by desiring something. So, but if they are good enough to think that, yes, now I will give up in the name of the God, okay, but let me not ask anything from the God. Because if I keep the God and do some Radham of going to Ayyappa temple or doing this Dhanurmasa Vratams or any kind of things, these things let me come out of my desires. Let my desires becomes lesser. And I should discover that I can live without that also, like that, some kind of self-confidence, inner strength. If we are discovering like that, then that tapas is. Again, that also there is no any competition, there is no any comparison. And therefore, the day-to-day life itself should become a tapomaya jivanam. Tapomaya jivanam. That's why Bhagavan is going to explain that Vachika tapas, Manasika tapas and Sharirika tapas. And just to remember one more, in Srimad Valmiki Ramayana, in the starting, the first shloka starts with the word tapa. Tapa. That means not to say about the Valmiki is a great tapasvi, but The importance is anybody to become great. In Yakshaprasnam Mahabharatam, the one of the fourth or fifth or sixth question comes, how a person become great, how a person can realize the truth. Kena vindate, kena svid vindate mahat. There mahat means the truth, Brahman. The reply given there by Dharmaputra also is tapasa vindate mahat. Tapas. Therefore, there also tapas means alochane, creative thinking, vicharana. So, this is very, very essential quality. Thinking, vicharana, inquiry about the truth. We should not be lazy in inquiring about the truth. We may do so many other things. We strain a lot physically, mentally, verbally, all that. But people, when it comes to the think, inquire. Therefore, here, tapaha. So, that shloka in Ramayanam, tapaswadhyayaniratam tapasvi vagmidambaram. See, tapas word 2 times. Naradam pariprapracha Valmiki Munipungavam. The great Rishi Devarshi Narada asked the great tapasvi, who is always involved and engaged in the inquiry, contemplation, to such Valmiki, Narada asked the question. In this way, he inquired. Therefore, tapas. And if you take this vicharana, creative thinking vicharana, and Ramana Maharshi's Upadeshasara, the last shloka, how Bhagavan concluded there, Ahamapetakam nijavibhanakam mahadidam tapo ramanavagiyam. Inquiring about this aham, discarding the pseudo aham and claiming the real aham. Ahamapetakam, removing, negating the ahankara I and realizing the nija vibhanakam. If we are able to do that, if you are interested to do that, if you are trying to do that, involving in doing that, that is the idam mahadidam tapaha. This is the mahat tapas. That's why I told tapaha alochane. This is the words of the Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi. Ramanavagiyam. Therefore, tapaha. Then comes the arjavam. In this shloka, the last word. Arjavam means rujutvam or straightforwardness. Actually, again here the straightforwardness means many times people will feel themselves great. I am a very straightforward person. Not like that. The meaning is like that only. That means actually arjavam, rujutvam, straightforwardness means trikarana shuddhameva arjavam. The purity of the Trikaranam means we can take body, mind and the speech, or in the mind itself Trikarana Shuddhi or Antakarana Shuddhi, Mano Buddhi and Chitta. If they are pure, Ahankara automatically will run away, goes away. So Antakarana, Trikarana Shuddhi or body, mind, speech purity is called really Arjavam, not just I will just say whatever I believe and whatever I accept and the truth on the face of the person. I always blast on the face. This is not the way. Rujutvam, straightforwardness. Straightforwardness means softness also. Straightforwardness means where to say, even if it is a truth, you need not to say on the face everywhere to everybody at any situation. Therefore, Rujutvam means always this should be there. By following the Rujutvam, am I convinced about my thoughts and the deeds and the words in myself? But that I convinced, but my conviction is based on the scriptural statements. Otherwise, everybody says that this is my conviction. Every religion, every person says. That's why we need some basic support. Shastra, shasanat, trayate iti shastraha. Therefore, our lifestyle, our convictions, all this should be based on the Shastra, Shastra Pramanam. Therefore, Arjavam. Then next shloka, Ahimsa Satyamakroodaha Tyagashantirapaishunam Daya Bhuteshvalo Luptvam Mardavam Hrirachapalam. Few more divine qualities Bhagavan mentioning here in this shloka. Ahimsa, which comes in as the number one, first in the yamas. The 5 self-disciplines, yamas, ahimsa, satyam, then ahimsa, satyam, then not possessing the things, brahmacharyam, all these things, first 5 self-disciplines, social disciplines, 5. Ahimsa, satyam, asteyam, then aparigraham and brahmacharyam, 5. So ahimsa, non-violence. Generally, our words and deeds and the thought, again, everything should be considered under the 3 levels. Ahimsa. Not creating any suffering. Praninam pidavarjanam. Not troubling, harming any living being is called ahimsa. Ahimsa paramo dharmaha. But at the same time, ahimsa is needed in certain conditions according to the Shastra rules again. If we don't know that, if the Kshatriya, for example, Raja, who is supposed to be a protector of the country and the people from the adharmic way and from the enemies and thieves and all these things, then he is not a protector. He need to do some kind of himsa to protect his people, kingdom, not for his own selfishness. That's why Kshatriya, Kshatat Trayate iti Kshatriya, Kshamat Trayate iti Kshatriya. People should not suffer because of anything. So I should take care of all of them. And people should not fall down from their righteous path. I should check and provide the environment in such a way. So in that cases, the king has to do some punishment, sometimes hanging also. Or if any enemy comes to fight and destroy his kingdom and the people, he has to fight again. In the fight war, many people will die. As we know in the Mahabharata war. But the Sakshat Bhagavan Narayana, Sri Krishna standing in the war field and telling to the Arjuna, get ready and do your duty. Okay? Yudhyasva Bharata. Why is he encouraging the violence there? Here he is telling ahimsa. Yes, that is the paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkrutam dharma samsthapanarthaya. It is not for the benefit of only Pandavas or the Arjuna. Because the arrival of the Avatara Lord Krishna is, the purpose is to protect the dharma and establish the dharma and revive this gnanam and this teaching. So all that for that purpose he came. Therefore he encourages that. So there are some kind of dharma sukshmams. We should not find any loopholes here. Loopholes. And many times in many occasions I given the examples of a judge without any biasness according to the law and rules and everything. After inquiring, he punishes the culprit or the thief or murderer, anybody who did the crime. So that is not wrong. In that way, ahimsa. But generally, a normal person, that too who is committed to the spiritual inquiry, spiritual path, to walk in the spiritual path, we should drop the himsatmaka bhavana, himsatmaka vachanam and himsatmaka alochana. The violent thoughts, the violent words and the violent actions should be avoided. Here that much is enough to understand. Then following the satyam. Apriya anruta varjanam yada bhutardha vajanam satyam. Live for the truth, seek the truth and speak the truth also. Again here there is lot of dharma sukshma should be followed. Generally we say satyam bhruyat, priyam bhruyat, na bhruyat apriyam. Your speaking truth should be useful to the other person and you should say the truth softly. And if that situation, occasion is not suitable to tell the truth, please don't tell. So you don't tell lie, but don't tell the truth also. keep quiet. So like this, we must use our discrimination. We must use our creative thinking. That's why I have to know. Shastra said, teacher said, Lord saying, but I must use my discrimination also. Where, what, when, how. Yes or no? So if my child, when he is small and young, he is very much listening to me. Now he is attained the age of 20 and he started fighting and quarreling with me. Now, for that say how to handle this big child 20 years. So you go and take any book and how to handle a son and study or take any course and then handle. You must handle by using your own discrimination. Yes or no? Even how much a great surgeon, he studied so many degrees and so many FRC, MRC, all these kinds. But when he come to the operation theater and put a scalpel on the patient's stomach and he simply remember what he studied and or see the book and do, no, he has to use his own use his own creative thinking and discrimination and do. So every action, everybody should able to do that. Then, okay, ahimsa, satyam. We must remember that we are here in this world with this human body. Our sole purpose is only to realize the truth. And for that sake, I must conduct my lifestyle, conduct my life in such a manner how my word, thought and actions will helps me to discover the truth. So in that way, don't tell the lie, speak truth అనేది general message. But that won't end there itself. Therefore, satyameva jayate na anrutam. So in the material world, sometimes this kind of doubts will come that whether I am to say or not to say, whether I have to do or not to do. And you have your own discrimination, think and coolly then do. Think sometime. That thinking is called tapaha or creative thinking. Shantihi satyam akrodha. Next one. Krodha, not showing the anger, not becoming not becoming angry person. So anger is a greatest enemy for an individual who gets that anger in his mind. Where anger comes? Anger comes in the mind. After that it expressed through the eyes, nose and through the words, the mouth. The whole body will tremble. Therefore, it is like this. Suppose I ask someone, he or she, a chain smoker is there. For him, we will give a cigarette and as well as the candle. Then we will ask him to lighten the matchstick and which he will burn it first, whether the candle or the cigarette. But the question is not natural. You say that because he's a chain smoker, he is very much interested, eager to lighten the cigarette first. But the question is not asked for that. Observe here. Before this matchstick burns the cigarette, before this matchstick burns the candle, it is burning itself. So fire started burning process where? In the matchstick. Exactly like that. Before I show the anger for a good reason or for a bad reason, okay, we say no, cigarette is bad, candle is good, whatever may be. But the anger born in me, lighted in me, so it will burns me first. That's why you burn the anger before it burns you. Bursting the anger after that repenting is very easy. Some people won't repent also, they justify their anger. Whenever we become angry, see your face in the mirror. It will look good. You like to see that angry face? It won't look good. Even you don't like to see your angry, puffed eyes and nose and face and everything. You don't like to do. If you don't like to see your angry face, then think people will like to see an angry person. Except in cinema dialogue, the hero says to the heroine, when you are in showing the anger, you look so beautiful. This is all drama, cheating. Don't fall prey for those dialogues. But see, think in a real experience in the life. Therefore, generally people say that no, if I don't become angry, the work cannot be done. They won't do. That means you are ready to sacrifice your inner peace and the spiritual upliftment for the sake of the worldly action to make them to do or to be done. Are you compromising your inner peace? So never justify in any angle, in any way, anger is not good for the health. We know that. But when it comes into the practice, therefore, these things are these sadhanas. Keep on observing that. How many times I am losing the temper? What happening inside of me? This is the sadhana, not any other kind of how many times I went to the temple, how many temples I went, and how much time I moved there, what are the things I done, whether I have broken the coconut or I have went without the chappals, climbed up hill. It doesn't matter. They were not at all related to, if you are not aware of your inner climate of the mind. Therefore, whether you go to the temple or not going to the temple, whether you worship or not, whether you do the Dhanurmasa Vrata or early morning bath or not, it doesn't matter. But what matters is what kind of quality, what is the quality of my mind? What kind of mind I am carrying? This is the measure stick. Therefore, all these things, that's why I am also explaining to you slowly, one by one, even though we know all these words, but still once again we reflect on it. We keep on reflect on them. Then only we can check and make ourselves free from all these negativities and imbibe with this sattvika gunas, akrodaha. So, some occasions will trigger the anger in us because it is one of the emotions in the mind. But before that anger takes a shape and become big flame like that, you just able to stop it. Akrodhata. Even who are harming to you, even who are disturbing to you, even though you keep away from them, you avoid them and just forget about them. You must have that capacity, akrodhata. Then tyagaha. See, dhanam is told there, therefore Shankara writes here, tyaga means sannyasa. Don't afraid, sannyasa. And before it is already told about the dhanam, then what could be the meaning here? Tyagaha, sannyasa. See, ultimately we have to give up everything. If you want to establish yourself in the truth, you want to become a gnanishtavan, you have to give up everything. This giving up everything is called tyagaha. Na karmana na prajaya dhanena tyage naike amrutatvamānashuhu. Therefore, tyagaha. Therefore, and that only give the total liberation. I am not holding on anything except I myself. Even I am not holding the Ishvara. I am not holding the world. I am not holding the even Guru Shastra, anything. The time will come when the knowledge is matured and you establish, that is only called Gnana Nishtha. There you will know that everything is dropped. Nothing is bothering me. Nothing is holded by me, by the mind. Such a state is called Parapanchopashamam Shantam. So the next word comes the Shanti, that we will discuss from that onwards in the next satsang. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Hari Om Tat Sat.